Today's financial advice is sponsored by Endeavor Private Wealth. Well, Chris McGee, managing partner at Endeavor Private Wealth, has joined us for a segment on investing. Chris, good morning. Thank you for joining us again.
Glad to be here.
So the focus of our prior two programs has been on retirement planning, specifically the importance of planning not only for one's desired retirement outcomes, but also being financially prepared for unexpected events and circumstances. You also reminded our viewers to focus on what is in their power to control, like their savings and spending habits, and not obsess about that which they can't control, like what's happening in the market and the economy.
That's right, Dane. So to complete our series on retirement planning, let's consider several mistakes that individuals make in the retirement planning process and how to avoid or mitigate them. Sound fair?
It sounds great. Please, let's go for it.
Let's start by considering life expectancy and the allocation of a retiree's investment portfolio. Average life expectancy is increasing with medical advances, particularly for healthy individuals who are non-smokers. Retirement lifespans lasting 30 to 35 years is not out of the question. Therefore, having the right asset allocation is critical. Asset allocation is an investment strategy that spreads the investments across different asset classes, such as stocks, bonds, cash, commodities, and real estate, and different sub-accounts, such as large, mid, and small stocks, and then different styles, such as growth and value. The thinking behind asset allocation by mixing investments within different asset classes is that investors will take less risk because if one or more of the asset classes may go down in value, the others may provide the counterbalance and perform better. Asset allocation does not guarantee that investors won't lose money. However, the proper allocation, which is unique to each investor based upon their age, spending needs, risk tolerance, and other factors, should help secure the income and capital appreciation that investors will need through their retirement.
And during retirement, don't retirees' expenses typically go down?
Every retiree's situation is unique, and yes, some expenses will go down. However, one of the mistakes that people often make is underestimating healthcare costs, the impact of income taxes, and the effect of inflation.
And doesn't Medicare cover retirees' healthcare costs?
With proper planning, Medicare can cover about 2/3 of normal required healthcare services after paying premiums. Medicare Advantage plans and Medigap supplementary insurance plans may pay some of the costs not covered by Medicare, but premiums, benefits, and eligibility for coverage can vary significantly, and therefore rigorous due diligence is required. Not all retirees will need long-term care or other types of assisted living support. However, should it be necessary, those costs can be substantial and they're usually not covered by Medicare. And that's why it may be beneficial to purchase long-term care insurance if you're insurable, and to do so sooner rather than later, as premiums only go higher as you grow older.
And Chris, you mentioned the impact of income taxes, but don't income taxes usually go down once people retire and then don't earn as much as they did when they were working?
Yes, that can be the case. However, retirees should be aware that if they have retirement income, in addition to their Social Security benefit, those benefits may be taxable if their combined income is more than a certain amount. Retirees who have savings in qualified retirement plans, such as 401k or traditional IRA, will have withdrawals taxed as ordinary income. And upon attaining a certain age, required minimum distribution must be taken, which is the government's way of ensuring that people use tax-advantaged accounts for what they were designed to do, to fund retirement.
And then there's inflation, which you've talked about on several prior programs.
Yes, we're all well aware that prices for goods and services is increasing over time. The purchasing power for our money is decreasing. And many retirees make the mistake of not factoring inflation into their retirement plans and establishing an asset allocation that has a reasonable chance of keeping pace with or even outpacing inflation.
Well, Chris, we're running very low on time now. Any final thoughts?
Dane, retirement planning is one of life's great journeys, a journey in which sound and prudent planning is vital, with guidance and counsel from one's trusted legal, tax, and financial advisor.
Chris, well, thank you so much for joining us today. This has been a pleasure. We always appreciate your time.
Thank you.
And of course, to learn more about Endeavor Private Wealth, visit endeavorpw.com.